Every year, hundreds of Virginians decide it is their time to seek a seat on their local city or town council or county board of supervisors. They state positions, make promises, and pledge to provide the citizens with fresh new leadership. But those who are fortunate to win, as Rosemary Wilson of Virginia Beach did, quickly learn that running and serving are two entirely different tasks.
When most elected officials come to office, they think they, as an individual, can do something. Obviously, it takes a majority vote of the board. So we have to orient them in the beginning to tell them just how to go about the process.
When I first decided to run, I really, in a stupid way, made the comment, isn't there anybody in this county that has enough common sense to run for the Board of Supervisors and make a good decision?
It took me 2 years to really almost, I might say, find the men's room. I mean, it really took a long time to get a grasp of city government. It's very complicated.
Have a lot to learn and still learning. It's mind-boggling in a sense that there's so much to learn.
They also need to understand the dynamics of community planning, what the Code of the Commonwealth allows a local planning commission to do, what a comprehensive plan is, what a zoning ordinance is, the difference between the two.
Sometimes it can be really overwhelming, especially if you get an agenda and it's 500 pages and you've got to deal with it in 48 hours.
Needless to say, serving on a local governing body is a challenge, but those people do not serve alone. Backing them are experienced professionals who provide the data, the advice, and eventually the follow-through to turn a political decision into practical action. Over the next several minutes, you'll meet some of Virginia's most experienced managers, administrators, supervisors, and council members. They'll tell you, and in some cases show you, why working together and respecting each other's roles is the best way to govern.
I should have the right to give an acre away or sell an acre or 2 acres, but don't tell me what to do with my farm.
In local government, most citizens probably don't care whether it's a council or board member's 10th year or first day in office. When they're upset, they want to be heard, and the people they've elected have to be ready to make tough decisions, often in the face of angry opposition.
If they want to give the people a fair chance at this thing, put it on the ballot and let the people in this city vote on it. And if they don't want it, let it go.
In Suffolk, the City Council and Planning Commission received an earful from residents, vehemently opposed to a proposed ordinance that would rezone much of the city in an effort to better manage residential and commercial growth.
Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you again to refrain from applause so we can get...
For Dana Dickens, having to face hundreds of skeptics is a challenging part of being mayor, but he realizes it's an absolutely necessary part of the job.
You got to have the public participating. If you don't have the public involved with it, they're not going to buy into it. And if they don't buy into it, then no matter how good your ordinance is, it's not going to be successful.
Citizen complaints about land use restrictions, design requirements, and other features of the Unified Development Ordinance forced hundreds of changes and frequent dialogue between mayor and manager.
We didn't always agree on what to do or how to do it, but one thing we never had a disagreement on, and that was the goal. That was the goal that began with having the best plan in Virginia. The best advice I could give to a manager is stay in tune with where council's going. Only the city council can adopt the law. It's the manager's responsibility to give good advice, stay in tune with the council, and then once the decision's made, carry it out effectively and efficiently. That's the difference between the two.
Indeed, elected and appointed officials across Virginia agree that the council-manager form of government, where the professional carries out the direction of the citizens' representatives, is the best system of all.
I ran a business that I owned, and I quickly learned that the best way to be a good manager of that business was to hire good people and then let them do their jobs. And that's how I feel about our county administrator.
Well, he's hired to be the administrator. He is responsible for the entire departments, all the departments and all the staff, and he has the professionals that are working for him. And so I need to make sure he understands that what I expect and the support for him, and he needs to manage and run the county affairs and not me.
I expect him or her to not tell me what he thinks I want to hear, but to tell me what is the realities of what is going on.
I think all of us, no matter what our outlook is, look to the manager for some professional guidance and opinion. And I think it's up to the council, each member individually and the group as a whole, to decide whether or not we want to take that professional advice.
Our tenure on those boards is a very short time. And those are the folks that need to carry on a historical background on issues that will be in the best interest of the county as a whole.
I've had several novices, and they end up calling me a coach by the time it's all over with.
All right, Mr. Manager. Thank you, Mayor. I think everybody should know that this entire budget process has been one tremendous test. It's getting more difficult all the time.
Managers say local government works best when elected and appointed officials understand their individual roles and respect the distinctions.
And I would advise any new member to work through staff, work through the county administrator. I think it's wrong to go to department heads or other employees.
When the council starts micromanaging, then the administration starts setting the policies. And this is what I've seen in our city, because we've had a couple of the younger people on council that have tried to micromanage instead of really setting the policy. And when we don't set it, believe me, the administration will. Somebody's got to set the policy for your city or town.
In the city of Petersburg, manager David Canada and Mayor Rosalind Dance have an excellent working relationship. And that's important because Petersburg is one of Virginia's most financially distressed cities. Keeping the tax rate in check and meeting citizen needs in education, public safety, even street repair is difficult when more businesses are leaving downtown than entering, when the demand for tax dollars outstrips supply.
We are losing teachers because we don't have money. We need equipment to meet those SOLs, and we don't have them. And anybody who sit and nitpick with that school board budget do not have this city's interests at heart, because the foundation of this city is the education of its children.
Money is an extremely scarce resource, and both for the city of Petersburg and for our citizens who are generally not quite as well off as, say, in some other communities. As a result, each dollar, both to the city and to the citizens who pay those dollars to the city, have high opportunity cost. So it is very difficult sometimes to meet all the priorities.
The hardest thing is to determine the priorities, goals and objectives of where you want to go, and get consensus from 7 men and women who come from different backgrounds, have diverse interests, and to get us to come together as one and say, this is a plan that we all agree to. That's the hard part. That's the hard part.
But in Petersburg, the council guides the manager by setting those priorities in an annual retreat each fall, well before budget preparation begins.
This becomes a document that we pass on to the city manager that he must use when he develops the budget, because the budget is just that, a means of implementing our goals and objectives.
I'm here tonight pleading and begging with you, each city council member.
But councils must still be flexible.
Nothing is set in stone when you're dealing with people.
You're spending their money, and you're running programs, whether it's public safety, education, whatever the case may be, for them, not for yourself. And that's one of the things that I always try to have, very, I guess, close to my chest.
As opposed to the strong mayor form of government that exists in many large American cities like New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles, in the council manager form of government, elected officials rely on the advice and guidance of professional managers, then add their own judgment and input from citizens before making a decision in the public interest. It's not always easy. It takes time, patience, wisdom, and as I hope you've learned in the last several minutes, a lot of teamwork.